Hello. Do you ever feel like you are completely stuck? Maybe you feel overwhelmed. Maybe you feel like you're kind of spinning your wheels and just going nowhere. Then, if you're ready to take certain steps and do something about this, that's what we're here to discuss today. So, welcome to the first Mindful Monday of 2025. It's great to be back. If it's your first time joining us, feel free to type in the comments where you're coming from, any questions or concerns, or anything that you want to hear. Future topics, we love to hear all of that stuff as well. Also, if you do type mindful, the word mindful in the comments after the broadcast, if you're watching live or any other time, I'll go back and I'll put in a link to give you some free gifts, which include a recording on releasing limiting beliefs and your weekly PDF cheat sheets, which is basically a PDF of all the bullet points of what we go over each week. Now that we're back. All right. So, getting back to our topic, we're talking about quick and easy techniques to move from stuck to, shall we say, successful, doing what you want to do, if that makes sense. So we actually have all the resources that we need, at least in hypnotherapy, hypnosis, we believe this, and yoga therapy as well, and answers within us. And more times than not, we have these answers within us, but we're just not able to kind of get the conscious mind and the subconscious mind on the same page. So this conflict happens when these two parts of the mind kind of have different opinions or different ideas about things. They're not in alignment with each other, if you will. So, some resources to kind of jumpstart that inner alignment can include the following things that we're here to talk about today. And that's going to help you to easily achieve whatever your goals are, basically. So, my number one is to start every day with gratitude. You can make a conscious point to list 3 to 5. You can make it more elaborate. You can journal this if you like, but even before you get out of bed, just list 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for today. It doesn't matter if they're the same, in my opinion, or different than yesterday's. I don't get into that compare and contrast kind of thing. Before I even get up, I'm listing 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for in this moment. And if it's a bad day, it might be I'm grateful for the air I breathe, but just getting into that gratitude mindset is a great way to start the day. Now, if you're a journaler, feel free to journal it. That's fine. You can spend half an hour on this or you can spend 30 seconds on it, but just getting into that state of gratitude. Number two is to spend an additional 5 to 10 minutes, and you can, give or take, add what, you feel is appropriate if you already have a practice or, tack on time as you go along. But every morning, spend an additional five at least minutes just in meditation. Now, people sometimes get alarmed by this and think I mean that kind of seated meditation where you're, the yogis, like we do like to do that sometimes, where you're just clearing your mind of all thoughts. So that's one, like, of a Vipassana kind of meditation is totally fine. You can do that, but there are so many types of meditation. You can make it a mindfulness. You can do a breathwork kind of meditation. You can do a few yogic stretches that are a movement meditation. You can do a mini yoga nidra. And it is kind of nice to have periods of meditation throughout the day, very short ones. I'm not talking about spending hours of meditation like you would at an ashram, but maybe 5 minutes of just mindfulness, throughout your day kind of practice. Number three is when you're getting ready in the morning, maybe brushing your teeth or whatever, or whatever you do, look into your own eyes in the mirror and say something kind to yourself. Be your own inner cheerleader. It can be something as formal as a mantra that excites you, or it can be something as simple as "you've got this," or "I believe in you," whatever works for you, kind of thing. Number four is to practice kind of a grounding or connecting technique. This can be, I find it particularly, I realize I live in Florida though, so I know some of you up in the north are going to be like, I'm not going outside, but to practice grounding in nature. So if it is a nice time of year, you live in a nice climate, it is very good to kind of spend 5 minutes, whether it be on your lunch break, going out for a walk, whatever, or you can even have your lunch and sit in a park or on the grass or with your back against a tree kind of thing. Now, I understand that that's not possible for all of us. So even here, because it does get cold in Florida, you can see all the plants around me. So you can bring nature inside too. So don't make it, something that you can't do, but just bringing yourself and nature together. This can help to kind of release stuck feelings. It can change your attitude. It can make you feel more creative, particularly plants that give out oxygen or just kind of replenishing all the good stuff that we do need with all the toxins that are out there today. Number five is throughout the day, anytime you do catch yourself, if you do, but most of us do have moments in a period of negative self talk, you want to immediately shift out of that. I always like to say cancel, cancel, cancel in my mind, getting it right out of there. and focus on reframing what you're saying to yourself, making it more positive. Instead of saying, oh, I'll never be able to do this, that's a generalization, right? So you want to say, well, I have not been able to do this yet, and I'm working on it, and I've made progress, kind of thing. Because that can really frame things differently in your subconscious mind. It sounds like just a play on words, but it really is important. Moving on, number 6 on my list. So, when feeling particularly stuck or overwhelmed, you want to ask yourself the miracle question. It's one of my favorite questions because so often we get into this autopilot of negative Nelly and we're focused on the negative and all the things that can go wrong. And so that's just going to make the overwhelm even worse. So you want to ask yourself, well, what would things be like if they were to get better? Or if I could imagine things getting better, what would I be doing? That kind of thing. So you just want to step into the positive, if that makes sense. Number 7 is if you do find yourself ruminating or repeating these like, kind of negative thoughts that do appear once in a while, because that's definitely going to keep you in a stuck cycle because you're so much into your head that you can't move on. It can be thoughts, it can be words, it can be images. Of course, if you have more time, you can do eye movement therapy or anything else. And we had my friend Jan taught us a great eye roll technique. Really fast one though is sometimes if I just don't want to look up, I know you guys might have to refer back to paper. If I just find myself like kind of in a thought, an image that's not useful to me, then I'm just going to take a big breath in, roll my eyes, and then exhale and let it all out. And so if you're by yourself, you can do kind of a bonus points, I say in the cheat sheet, a lion's breath. You can go, so a yoga lion's breath, just to let that all out. It's kind of a physical release, which is fun too. Of course, you don't want to do that if you're around people you don't know too well. And then number 8 is to utilize the power of positive anchoring. So, of course, it does take time to create a habit, whether it's positive or negative, although positive seems to take longer for me. Um, so, you want to create kind of a positive hand anchor. I like to use yoga mudras. This means infinite possibilities. This one means inner joy kind of thing. So, I like to use those two in particular. And then I'll also have a what we call a trigger phrase, which is just like kind of a mantra or a phrase, and it symbolizes like that you're stepping into the state. So what you do is anytime you find yourself experiencing things that make you feel really good, you want to catch yourself in the peak. It's an NLP technique. You have to be in the peak. It's called anchoring. And then you would fire, which means put your fingers together in whatever hand position you choose. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, you can think or say your word or phrase. So it could be as simple as naming it, joy, or you can get elaborate. I used to be a dancer. I'm a yogi, so I tend to use songs, but whatever. So again, not going to change your life immediately, but 21, 28 days of consistently doing this, and you're having a little bit of a not so great day, you can fire that anchor, take a big breath in, exhale, say the word or phrase, and all these feelings that you have anchored into your physiology that are positive can come rushing back to you, which is amazing. Number 9 is, and this is just a suggestion. So unless you're contraindicated to do something, there are some health conditions, particularly pregnancy and other things, to do. I'm going to say like a monthly breathwork practice, and I'm not talking about relaxing breathwork because that's great for everybody to do, like those deep breaths and stuff like that. This is more, some people will do holotropics, some people do transformational, which I do, or hypnotic, which I do, or neurodynamic, which I do. A monthly breathwork practice that kind of gets you into an altered state so that you can clear out any remaining baggage, any remaining limiting beliefs kind of stuff. It's a great practice. Just make sure that you're checking in with your healthcare professional if you decide to do this. All right. And number 10, so as I was already talking about, those relaxing breaths are good for everybody. So I actually set a silent timer on my phone, and every about 2 hours that I'm awake, it vibrates, and I take 3 deep breaths. And on the exhales, I'm thinking in my mind, relax now, because we all need to downregulate basically in this day and age. And then 11 is if you should find yourself in kind of a state where you're having this uncomfortable physical sense or felt sense, an uncomfortable feeling manifesting in your body, you can create a metaphor in your mind, perhaps saying, okay, this feeling in my stomach, it's kind of like a cyclone swirling around in my belly. And then you can change that metaphor to something that feels more positive to you, like a puffy cloud massaging my belly. And in another Mindful Monday, we also talked about the backward spin. So if you have more time, you can actually go a little bit further with this. Just doing a metaphor shift can be very useful. But if you wanted to do the backward spin, then you kind of note where the feeling is, the sensations, the motions, if there's a color, a size, etc., to this internal felt sense feeling. And you imagine taking it just outside of yourself, like maybe right here where the camera is, and then you change all of those things. So if the direction's going clockwise, you make it counterclockwise. If orange is a color that's disturbing, then you make it blue, etc., etc. And then you bring it back within yourself. And I love this because it is really fast and you can keep doing it if you need to. Nobody has to know you're doing it. And the interesting thing about it is the subconscious mind really likes this because our subconscious responds to things that are in pictures and creativity. And this is why when you, unlike the conscious mind that's analytical, which is why when you try to think your way out of an uncomfortable thought, it doesn't necessarily work too well. And finally, number 12 is keeping in mind that everything we talked about really qualifies as hypnosis. Hypnosis is not being asleep or anything like that you sometimes see in the movies, which do make great movies. Hypnosis is kind of a flow state, so it can be done with eyes open or closed. However, when we talk about what people think about more as hypnosis, it is lovely to kind of go to sleep with a hypnotic recording or a yoga nidra. The subconscious mind, as I said, it speaks in visual images, creativity, it never sleeps. So, whatever you're putting into your mind right before you go to sleep, the subconscious tends to work on throughout the night. So, you can use this for sleep learning and so many other things. It doesn't have to be formal. You can just put a thought into your mind before going to bed. It is nice to have the recordings, but you can be like, okay, I want to write next week's Mindful Monday. And what should it be about? Go to sleep, come up with that idea. So great stuff. It's wonderful to be back with you all. And I hope this has been a wonderful Mindful Monday for you and make it a great day. Take care.